After clearing out the bandits, Fogado and Tamara reveal that they've been aware of the Fell Dragon's presence early on, and have been taking steps in ensuring that Solm is protected, with Fogado protecting the border and vetting any self-proclaimed divine dragons, wherein they'd lead them to Tamara to give the Radiant Hero, and reveal that they have the Ring of the Crux of Fate too. Though just before we head to where Solm's second ring is, an urgent report comes in that Hortensia is causing trouble again. This time at Solm Palace. Heck, even Ivy sounded disappointed hearing about her sister. Though before we rush over to the palace, it's time for the Somniel again. And from this video on, unless there's something new or something noteworthy occurs, I'll be skipping this part just to cut out on the editing I need to do. That being said, we have a new activity in the form of Wyvern Riding, where we shoot down a bunch of targets and get various items at the end. With a new emblem ring comes a new gambling opportunity, and I do 50 pulls on the Path of Radiance banner, and I finally get my first S-rank bond rings, not counting the heroes ones, in the form of Mist and Grail. And before I forget, I put Lucina back on the Lear, and move over Ike to Louis. Then I give Tamara and Merrin Sharina S and Anna S respectively. We engrave the Radiance emblem onto the Represalios, as Louis' speed is effectively 0 anyway. Alchrist and Lynn begin their path of reconciliation on their bond conversation, and then I get to the supports. Merrin's love of rare critters causes her to associate Alir as one, since he's the divine dragon, and understandably, Alir isn't too happy with the objectification as Merrin jots down his activities as like an average human, invoking even more displeasure. Alir catches Louis in contemplation about the 3 younger siblings he's left behind, hypothesizing that being in a family lacking parents or sisters provided an opportunity for his people-watching hobby to blossom. Alir asks if his siblings have the same hobby, and they do not, concluding that it may just be Louis. Clan is exhausted by his steward work and denies his own exhaustion, daring Alir to give him an order and he'll do it, so Alir orders Clan to get some rest, much to the latter's dismay, though he eventually gives in. Fram finds Clan sulking about the pamphlet situation from their B support, and because of that, Clan doesn't believe he deserves to be a Divine Dragon fan. Fram is quick to dispel that notion, provoking Clan's passion, and acknowledging that's all he needs. With newfound vigour, the siblings get to work again on improving their pamphlets. As Fogado is about to invite Yanaka to a party, he finds her in a foul mood and leaves her alone. Yanaka realizes she forgot to put on her happy-go-lucky facade, so she puts her mask back on and joins Fogado to maintain her persona, despite her reluctance. Alchrist continues his self-deprecation train when Fogado stumbles upon him, as the latter keeps pointing out the similarities between them. Despite Alchrist's attitude, it happens to be one of the reasons Fogado likes him, though Alchrist refuses to believe that he's likable and flees. Ivy apologizes to Alchrist again for her part in Morian's death, despite knowing it's not enough to soothe him. She's doing it so the two can move forward while they're allies, which surprises the Brodian prince, though he agrees to find a middle ground for the two to get along. After the numerous supports, we head over to Solm's palace again for chapter 14, encountering this Brat again who has an emblem ring and is threatening regicide in exchange for the rings in our possession. Alir confidently declines the trade deal as to not deny what the people of Solm have done for us at this point, and Tamara backs him up, as the threat of the Fell Dragon is far greater than Hortensia going through the 5 stages of grief. Eventually, Ivy pacifies her into acceptance, but Zephyr ruins this reunion, admonishing Hortensia for ignoring orders, though praises the girl's initial objective, and that weakness is enough to get Hortensia brainwashed into being a boss fight again for the 3rd time. On preparations, we have a symmetrical layout with an almost symmetrical enemy placement. The foes on the right mostly have axes, while its lances on the left, and the throne room is controlled by 3 of the 4 Hounds, Zephyr, Marnie and Morvier, plus Hortensia with the Ring of the Instructor, the latter sporting funky purple revival stones. With the enemy composition in mind, I swap Alfred for Kagetsu and equip Panette with the Grail S bond ring we got earlier. I also make sure everyone's inventories are full, then I set them up in these positions and begin the battle for Solm, with the goal of defeating all 4 bosses. On turn 1, I split the party as follows. Team right consists of Louis, Ivy, Alir, Nerin, Kagetsu, and Alquist, while team left has Panette, Timera, Yanaka, Jean, Clan, and Fogado. We'll start with the right group first as they had the easiest time. Most of the frontline work was done by Alir and Nerin, so as they blitzed through, those two were the ones that opened the treasure chests at the top right corner of the map. Alir received the boots item, while Nerin attains the magic-based Radiant Bow. The next turn after the chests were opened, I had Alir put on the boots to permanently increase his movement range by 1, while the rest of the group cleaned up the rest of the enemies at the throne room entrance. Overall, this took about 9 turns, while the other team is playing catch-up. Speaking of the other team, let's go back in time, which was a total nightmare in comparison, mainly due to a single paladin that was able to one-round all my characters aside from Panette at high enough HP, and having this team clear the bottom left corner cost 7 time crystal charges within turns 2 to 4. The first loss was due to a crit on Clan, who I had positioned ahead of everyone else to preemptively strike a thief that spawned on turn 2. The second time was because I overextended Panette, which ended with a guaranteed death by the paladin I mentioned. Third use was because we failed to kill the thief, and we don't do so until much later. The units I used to kill the paladin took too much damage, and we had no way of properly defending from the remaining enemies, so there goes the fourth. The fifth due to playing defensively from the topmost pillar tile near the entrance not working out. Then the sixth and seventh were burned because Yanaka was a sitting duck for the paladin when I tried to use the bottom pillar tile instead. Travelling back once again, we finally made an opening on turn 3 as Panette deals some much needed enemy phase damage to the paladin, making the kill on turn 4 safe, allowing the rest of the group to dispatch many of its not so scary allies. The next, more notable section is the thief around turn 9 as it is about to make its escape with the top left corner items. Jean arrives just in time to freeze them in place, so Clan can loot them on turn 10, receiving the Silver Spirit Art and Wormslayer. Eventually our entire army rejoins around turn 13 and we burn a few more turns, easily fending off the 2 sets of 3 flyer reinforcements that spawned from where we started. Everyone is prepared to enter the throne room part of the Solm Palace raid on turn 16, and we have our 2 tanks Louis and Nerin lure out some of the trash mobs, and the 3 we bait out took 2 more turns to eliminate. Despite Louis being in Hortensia's Fracture Staff range on turn 18, it's not enough to pull the bosses out, so on turn 19, Louis tries to bait Morvier this time while Alquist Astra storms the healer next to Zephyr, and the result is that only the healer rushes at us. Louis pushes a tile deeper on turn 20, and we utilize the core doubles illusions as bait too. This is enough to finally get Hortensia to break Louis and aggro the enemies in the room. For turn 21, the party pulls back while Louis is forced to continue body blocking and the remaining illusion slows Zephyr and Morvier's advance. On turn 22, Clan uses Thunder on the sword unit from the Emblem energy tile alcove on the left, and Alquist uses one of the circles to get Flynn off cooldown. Louis engages to set up Great Ether, and Ivy obstructs the tile behind him so Marnie can't smash Louis down the stairs. Hortensia uses her last Fracture Staff use to pointlessly break Louis, then the 3 Hounds wail on him, with Marnie knocking Louis to the right and putting Zephyr in danger. Timera protects Yanaka, then the enemy healer runs into the Great Ether Blast Zone, resulting in their death at the start of turn 23. We eliminate the sword unit with Fogado and Ivy. Louis takes initiative to break Zephyr's Revival Stone, then we take her down with an Astra Storm and Tomahawk combination to the face.
Quite strong. That would have been too easy, I suppose. We'll meet again soon enough.
Jean takes the opportunity to freeze Morvier in place, so we are free to bombard Marnie, starting off with Clan breaking her Revival Stone, Alir striking with the Levin sword, Temera getting a few javelin shots in, and we finish her off with Yanaka.
Beaten by a bunch of weaklings. The floor's slippery. That's the only reason I lost. I'm going home.
And capping this turn, Merrin shaves off half of Morvier's HP. Being unable to move, Morvier targets Louis once again, and now it's turn 24. Jeanette breaks Morvier's revival stone, then Clan and Louis take down the remaining Hounds.
My orders do not involve dying. I take my leave.
With only Hortensia left for now, Merrin and Yanaka apply a stack of poison each, then Alir breaks the first purple revival stone, leading into a tutorial about the Rampage state, where a dark synced pair's relationship becomes violent, making them stronger. In this case, however, Hortensia gets access to the instructor's Sword of the Creator, and some reinforcements. Hortensia utilizes the dark version of the instructor's goddess dance to bring those reinforcements right into our faces, and we dispatch all of them on turn 25, utilizing 2 charges to correct a move, and the other because Louis died as the High Priest we left alive got to attack him twice. Unfortunately, I severely underestimated the Sword of the Creator's power as I didn't read the fact it got buffed for this game to gain extra damage based on the user's magic, and we end up utilizing our final charge for the map as Hortensia slices through her sister like butter. With the significant risk of losing our characters, we go back to the start of turn 25 as I notice that Hortensia will prioritize refreshing her allies if possible. So we retreat back out and play defensively for the next few turns, defeating 3 of the illusion soldiers on turn 26, and obstructing a few tiles to restrict enemy movement. Temera takes the brunt of the remaining small fry's attacks, including the ones from when they're refreshed, and then we make it onto the final turn. First, Temera skewers the final soldier. With the help of Alir, Panette shatters the last revival stone. I let Clan get one last poke in, then I place as many of our allies as I could within 2 tiles from the position below Hortensia, so we can have the most satisfying finish possible with Lucina's All for One.
I challenge my fate! I got you! And one from me! For you!
Almost. Come on. You're ornery. One more. That's not all.
Strike!
Why does nothing go my way?